An analog watch with a countdown timer is something you don't see every day. Hey, I'm Chase, and this is All Things Rhythm. Today we are looking at the Citizen ProMaster Sailhawk. It is the only sailing watch I've ever reviewed on this channel that's worth a damn. Now, you can say that the Rolex Yachtmaster or the Pagani design Yachtmaster-ish watch is still kind of a sailing watch, but it's really not. This is a true sailor's watch, and the features offered on it are so great that it's hard to believe that they all come in a single watch. Anyway, first a detailed review, then at the end, my opinions. Let's hop into it. So as always, let's get into the details first, and then we will do my opinions at the very end. So this is a 316L stainless steel case. It is brushed all the way around. The dimensions are 44 millimeters in diameter. So this is not a small watch, not even a little bit. The lug to lug, or the footprint, is going to be 50 millimeters. So even on my 7¼ inch wrist, and I'll show you in just a minute, this thing is going to fit quite large. Now, the reason why you want a watch like this to fit quite large is because this is a true tool watch. This is the Citizen Sailhawk. This is for sailing, and not only is it for sailing, being out on the water, but it is also a dive watch. This has 200 meters of water resistance. The lug width right here is 22 millimeters, and the case thickness is 14.5. The finishing is decent. It's mediocre. This watch only comes in at about $400, plus or minus a little bit. It does have a aluminum bezel insert, ion coated. It is unidirectional slide, so there's no clicking, goes either way. This is so you can do some of the other functions of the watch that I'm just not going to get into because I'm not an expert at using these timing bezels. The watch comes on a polyurethane strap. This is the exact same strap that comes on my Citizen ProMaster Diver with the depth sensor. Wonderful, wonderful watch. The only watch I've ever regretted getting rid of. Now, the polyurethane feels smooth. It is quite malleable, but whenever you want to put it within the keepers, it's very sticky. This is good because you don't want the strap to come undone. So it's really good that they do that. It's a pain to put it on. It's a pain to take it off. But once it's on, you know it's secure, which is a really good thing. On top, covering this black dial, is a piece of mineral glass. Shatter resistant, scratch resistant. I mean, as much as mineral glass should be. And I don't know why at the price point of over $100, most people don't use sapphire. It's really not hard, especially the dead flat pieces of sapphire don't cost much money, even a little bit. Now I'm going to run through the functions real quick, and then we're going to talk about the functions on the watch themselves. Now this does have the C660 Eco Drive inside, powered by any light source, and lasts for 6 months in pure darkness. This thing does have so many different functions. It is a computer. Of course, it's a quartz computer, the Eco Drive. You can see that here at the 4 o'clock, here at the 7 o'clock. It does have LED displays. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But outside of that, the functionalities of this watch has basic timing, as you see. It also has a yacht racing timer, a world time in 30 cities, a 1/100th second chronograph that measures up to 24 hours, a split lap time, a dual time, so it does have a second time zone, 2 alarms, a 99-minute countdown timer, which is very interesting on a watch that's analog. I can't think of any watch that's analog that actually counts backwards. This thing is pretty awesome. One-touch interchangeable analog digital times, retractable hands, digital backlight display, daylight savings time indicator, and universal coordinated time, or UTC, display. So this thing does pack quite a bit. A lot of people want to travel with a GMT. I'm going to tell you that if you're going to travel with this watch. This has so many different functions and features that it's going to take you a while to figure it out, but I haven't even read the manual on this, and I have a basic understanding of how it works because it's actually quite intuitive. In fact, let's talk about that right now. Normally, the crown right here that is signed, the ProMaster logo, normally is what changes the time. Instead, if you look right here, you can see that just above the 6 looks like a subdial. It is a subdial, but that is the function subdial. So as I rotate this, which is a non-screw down crown, which is great that 200 meters of water resistance and this thing does not screw down. You rotate it and you can see that it's moving and it's changing the functionalities of the watch itself. You have a set feature, a time feature, calibration, the race. The race is going to be my favorite. That is the countdown timer right there. Pretty cool. You rarely ever see a center second hand run backwards. So this is a really cool watch. Reset that. Keep going throughout, and you can see that there's just different modes for each one to include different alarms. Now, if I go to the time, this is where the time zones are. You can see right here in the 7 o'clock window right there, I can actually go through the times, the time zones around the world, and you can see right here is the correlating time in that area. So not only do you have your standard time, your home time, but then in the small digital window, you have a world time function. Pretty awesome. So this thing does pack quite a lot of features. Now, my buddy who bought this watch owns one watch, and it is a smartwatch, and everything else is a dive computer if he wears it on a wrist. Now, he asked me, he's like, Chase, what should I get? I want something that has a tide indicator, something that has a countdown timer on it, and a few other features, right? Water resistance being at least 100 meters. This thing has 200 meters and looks great on the wrist. I wouldn't have chosen this orange. The orange is just fine. Screw on case back now it's flipped over. But he chose the orange. The orange on the water looks great. Now, as he's telling me everything that he wants on a watch, I can't think of one watch that offers all these features. So he actually found the Sailhawk and said, hey, do you want to do a review? And I was like, absolutely. I've never seen a watch with a countdown timer before, and that's just a pretty cool feature that you hardly ever see. Are you ever going to use all the functionalities of this watch? It does have a chronograph. You can see there's 2 subdials right up here outside of the setting subdial right here. And it has a chronograph feature. So if you're racing, you can use the chronograph, or timing something, you can use the chronograph. It does have that slide bidirectional bezel. And it does have, you can see it has port, starboard, different features that indicate this is a watch meant to be on the water. Let's go ahead and toss it on the wrist. And it is a pain to get this thing on. It really is. But that goes back to it being secure on the wrist. Once it's on, it's definitely not coming off. It is a nightmare to put these things on. So here it is on my 7 1/4 inch wrist. You can see that 50 millimeter footprint. That lug to lug is quite big, but this is a watch that's meant to be big. I explained that earlier. Can you wear this in a suit? No, you'd look like an absolute moron. But if you wear this in a linen shirt and some linen shorts with some boating shoes, so a little classier on an actual sailboat, or even just walking around the beach, it's gonna look great. It really is. This is a watch meant for the water, and if you buy it for anything else, then really, you're the fool, not the watch. Now, what do you guys think about the ProMaster Sailhawk? Now, this is one of those watches that reminds me of the Citizen ProMaster Diver with the depth sensor that I had for years. I reviewed it a few years ago, really like a few years ago, like an old video. And it is one of the watches I do regret selling. And though it's only like $450 to replace, it's hard to spend $450 on a watch, then sell it at a discount, and then spend another $450 because you regret it. Now you're spending twice as much on essentially the same watch. So I probably won't do that, but it was a great dive watch. Now, this watch may not be for you. Again, like I said, it is a niche watch. It's not going to look great in a suit, and especially with the rubber strap that's orange or multicolored, it really does stick out. That being said, it looks great on your wrist if you're doing sports. It looks great on your wrist if you're on a boat. And it does have so many features on it that I think that you're really going to enjoy it. It's hard to find a watch better than this with this many features. That's not a true just digital watch. Anyway, what do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Remember, if you like videos like this, hit the subscribe button. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, helps the channel. Hit the like button. Let's push this out there to people who've never heard of this watch, because I never heard of this watch until my buddy bought it. And hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one.